Hey guys, today I'll be giving you my top 10 of 2014. This consists of the mangas and books. I just decided to make one whole video rather than separate out manga. The first two were mangas that I was introduced to through the BookTube Manga Club on Goodreads. And the first one is The Full Metal Alchemist, and that is by Hiromu Arakawa. This particular bind-up consists of volumes 1, 2, and 3. I absolutely love this. It's sort of the tale of the Elric brothers, Edward and his younger brother Alphonse. Their father was an alchemist, and they dabbled in it a little bit, and then something happens where their mother dies, and they try to use alchemy to bring her back, and things go horribly wrong. Edward loses, I think it's an arm first, and or a leg, I don't know. He loses one limb, and then but his brother is even more badly damaged. His soul has sort of been ripped from his body, and he manages to, through another alchemical spell, save his brother soul in a suit of armor, but that costs him another limb. So he ends up losing an arm and a leg, and he ends up losing his body, basically. And this premise of the story is they're trying to kind of undo the damage they have done, and Edward wants to, somehow give his brother his body back. The story also involves, it unfolds how they become, actually licensed alchemists. And he becomes known as the Full Metal Alchemist, even though his brother's the one in the, suit of armor. But this book just has a lot of really great feels between the brothers and some of the other characters. You really become attached to a lot of the characters, all the other licensed alchemists and people that they encounter and help through their alchemy. It's just a really, really delightful story, and I absolutely love the artwork. I think it's very, very well done. Yeah, just really become attached to the characters, and just want to see what's going to happen to them down the road, if they will ever be able to undo the damage they have done. I've also was introduced to Monster, and this is by Naoki Urasawa. This is volume 1 in the Perfect Edition, which I think contains the first 2 manga in the original series when they came out quite some time ago. And it's about a Japanese doctor living in Germany, and he saves the life of a young boy who later becomes a serial killer. And I like the doctor. He stands by his morals as a doctor, patient first. He's concerned about that. When he first gets there and he meets the director of the hospital, and he falls for the director's daughter, they're engaged to be married. He kind of goes along with things, but after a while he starts to see the way the director and the daughter and how they feel about, they don't really care about the patients. It's all about prestige and money and things like that. And I like that he stands by his responsibilities and morals as a doctor. But now here he has saved the life of this young boy who is now turned into a serial killer, and he feels like it's his obligation to try and stop this boy. And through the course of the story, he's blamed for a lot of these murders, and it's just a really intense story, and the things that are happening is he's, trying to trace this boy, and he's falling under suspicion. There's this detective who's kind of creepy, kind of trying to track him down. The artwork is just fantastic. It's a little less, it's a little bit more natural style in terms of the artwork, which I really liked. Then I read a really great gothic horror novel by John Boyne. This is This House is Haunted. I love this. It has the perfect creepy feel to it. A young governess goes to a mansion out in the middle of nowhere to be governess to, she doesn't know how many children. It's kind of an unknown situation. But lots of weird things start happening, and it was just perfectly creepy. Gave the right feel, and I really, really enjoyed this one. Then I picked up In the Shadows by Kirsten White. This I really love for its uniqueness. It's, I think along the lines of Hugo Cabret. There's text, and then there's illustration, but the illustration doesn't have any text with it. It's strictly just images. And then there's the text, and then you go right back to the images. And again, another kind of horror type, really weird group of people. It has a definite darkness to it, dark feel to it, that just really pulled me in. And I had a little trouble getting into it first, trying to figure out what was going on with the pictures, but as the more you read and follow along, it starts to really kind of become clearer, and I just thought it was a fantastic, different idea. And then sort of by a self-published author that I came across. This is the second book in the series. This is by Rachel Ochs. It's entitled Deadlands Harvest. It's the second book in the Deadlands saga, which is sort of a zombie tale based on Dante Alighieri's very famous poem, epic, poem. I love the main characters, Cash and Clutch, sort of nicknames they've given each other. Cash is a woman who encounters Clutch, who's a truck driver. He kind of comes to her rescue during a zombie breakout, and he's sort of become her guide through this zombie hell. And this particular one focuses on the deadly sins. So each chapter is pride, envy, wrath, sloth, greed, and gluttony and lust. So within each chapter, they're encountering, like, you know, other humans that are still living, and that kind of end up, you know, demonstrating these particular sins, you might say. But it's just very, very well written, and I love the characters. It's just, you really, really care about these characters. And there will be, of course, another one. So it's like based on Inferno, Purgatory, and Paradise. So I think it's going to be just the trilogy. All three books represent those particular books. So yeah, I definitely recommend that one. I also read Heir Apparent by Vivian Van de Velde. Very difficult name. This is sort of I'd say a YA version of Ready Player One in a way. I mean, it's got that same feel to it. It's got a great main character in Janine. She's a 14-year-old girl who gets this gift certificate to a virtual reality place on her birthday, and it enters into this medieval game where she's like the heir apparent to the throne, but something happens outside to the facility running this game, and she is now trapped in it and has to kind of win the game to get out alive. If she's in there too long, it could damage her brain. So it was fun reading because, you know, she, like anytime you play a video game, you know, you lose, you have to start over again. This happens to her quite a bit, but she's running out of time every time that happens. And the characters are all really, really great, and the situations, it was fantastic. I wasn't really expecting that. I just picked this up as a library, friend of the library sale, and I sat on my shelf for a bit. One day I just started reading the first chapter, and then I read the second chapter, and I couldn't put it down, and I definitely recommend this one. It was really, really good. And then I read kind of marathon a trilogy. I'd have to put all three books together and count it all. It's part of like my top 10, but just representing with the one, it's Monument 14 by Emmy Laybourne. This is the first book in the series. A really great kind of survival type story. These kids, a lot of weird, crazy disasters sort of happen, and they're trapped in a kind of like what do they call it, a Safeway or a Greenway, sorry. And whatever toxins are out in the air kind of affect the kids differently based on their blood type, and it was just really, really intriguing. A little different twist on kind of a survival type story with just the kids, and I was really drawn into everything they were going through and the tense situations, and I just literally went from book to book, a marathon, the entire series, and it was a really quick read, really captivating, and absolutely loved it. Then for total uniqueness for books, that would be Horror Store by Grady Hendrix, a book that's a horror book that looks like a catalog for a furniture store, and that I thought was just so clever. Each chapter has like an ad for some kind of furniture in the beginning, and they get a little bit more creepier as they go along, and it was just super great. The way it's left too, you're thinking, there might be a sequel with another catalog for another store or something, because it definitely left it open a little bit at the end. But I was just really intrigued by it and the creepiness of the store, and I loved all the little things included. There's like a map and a maze and all sorts of stuff within the book itself. So yeah, awesome book. Then I finally got to read Michael Crichton, Jurassic Park. That was one of my goals to read. Loved the movie. Finally got to read the book. I'm sure most of you know the story about, they, through DNA, they recreate the dinosaurs and create like a theme park. And what I liked about the book is it was just different enough from the movie to make me enjoy it without feel like I'm rehashing, just rereading a novelized version of the book. It was like they did enough twists when they made the movie that I could just enjoy the book just as well. Usually I'll read the book before the movie, but that didn't happen. So finally got to read this, and I really loved it. Like I said, I love the uniqueness of the way different things happen to different characters. It didn't happen in the movie. It's just such a clever idea. It's my all-time favorite movie, and now one of my all-time favorite books. But my top book for the year, I think, would have to be The Martian by Andy Weir. Picked this one up as advanced reader copy. Finally got a finished copy of it, but an astronaut that ends up trapped on Mars after an accident, and then everyone else believes he's dead. and it's going to be a long time before any help arrives, probably longer than he has a chance to survive because of supplies and things like that. And you're just drawn in from the very beginning, and so caught up in the main character, Mark Watney, told from his basically point of view through most of the book until things start happening on Earth and we get like a view of what's happening down there too. But I thought I would get kind of a little bogged down in some of the technical details of things, but you really just find yourself so captivated and wondering, how is this guy, going to make it, to stretch out his supplies that long. It just seems like a total impossibility. But it is just, as you're going in, you just don't know. Is he going to make it? Is he not going to make it? It was absolutely fantastic and just captivating and pulled me through. I love the humor of the main character too, and some of the situations that happen. It's sort of like this sarcastic wit, like, what are you going to do? What else can he do? But yeah, absolutely fantastic novel. I highly recommend that one. So yeah, that's my top 10 of 2014. If you guys have read any of these, let me know what you thought of them. And if you did a video of yourself doing a top 10, let me know. I'll go check it out. Thanks for watching.